Today for something different. How do I know all the little details about how Fokker's aeroplanes were technically constructed? I show you with an example so you can see what I'm really getting at. Many people believe that if they have a little bit of information, that's how it was built. And then any other opinion, of course, is wrong. The best are always those who say they have seen a drawing and therefore know exactly how it was made. But this can often be misleading. Here's an explanation using the example of the wing spars of the Fokker D.VII. Drawings can only ever show how a draftsman or engineer imagined it, not whether it was actually built that way at workshop level. The D.VII spars are a great example of how misconceptions can arise. The construction method was new at Fokker at the time, and the drawings show how the spars were intended to be built. By and large, they were built that way, with very minor deviations that allow us today to distinguish between the construction methods used by Fokker, Albatros, or the Ostdeutsche Albatrosswerke OAW. My only concern here is what the filler blocks in the Fokker spars looked like. According to the Fokker factory drawing for the D.VII spars, they were designed in such a way that, in order to save weight, the arms running outwards taper towards the neutral center line of the spar when viewed from above. When viewed from the front, they naturally also taper outwards. However, based on one of the machines that was cut open and examined in the US in 1920, we know that the machine examined there, which was built in Schwerin, was manufactured differently in the workshop, namely tapering outwards instead of towards the center, just like in the front view. Whether this was done deliberately or as a result of misinterpretation of the drawings because only the front view was taken into account, I do not know, of course. The fact is that this design is technically more complex but lighter and more favorable in terms of force transmission to the spar beams and plywood planking. We also know from the French and British investigation reports that this weight saving was also dispensed with the Albatros and OAW built Fokker D.VIIs. What is the benefit of knowing this? Well, first of all, this knowledge is useful if you want to replicate the aircraft as they were actually built at Schwerin. Secondly, it helps to identify components and their manufacturers. That is why I can say with certainty that the last Fokker D.VII allegedly built in Schwerin and recently restored for Canada by the Vintage Aviator Limited is not an aircraft consisting exclusively of parts manufactured by Fokker at Schwerin, but rather a mix of OAW, Albatros, Fokker and even modern replicas. After 40 years of in-depth research, I usually know what I'm talking about when I say something like this, and there are many such small details that allow me to reproduce originals faithfully or to identify parts.